right now. I will brain you.
Oh, you keep missing it. Through in the past. Hi. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Someone get that goose out of here.
Hey, pals.
Honk.
Hi,
Nice
pals.
to be in the room with you, pals.
Welcome to Short and Sweet, pals.
Short and sweet.
Good to be
short.
here. Hey, do you know who is short and sweet?
Ooh.
Mr. Tim Burton.
I don't know if that's true. I think he's probably
He's kind of tall, isn't he? And an and
6 foot. And yeah, I'd say he probably tastes like
a little prickly.
I
Might be
think
a
Danny
prickly.
DeVito's short and sweet.
Yeah, it's true.
What a sweetheart.
He raised that girl.
What a sweetheart.
His daughter. No.
Anyway, today
Okay.
we are.
He tastes like chives.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Ranch sauce. We're talking about best and worst Tim Burtons, or what do we think about Tim Burton?
I
or
think we
what are
said our
thoughts?
what is your favourite Tim Burton? And you're immediately gone to worst.
Yeah.
Well, get it off your chest.
Foreshadowing? Much?
Sure.
I mean, it's not.
What do you want to say, Frank?
There's a lot on the worst Tim Burton list. He's made 20 films, and you could argue 50% of them are not good, even
Yeah.
if you like Tim Burton.
I was surprised at going through the credit list on this. I was like, oh, okay.
Do you remember how many you've seen out of the 20?
Not as many as I guess I thought.
I think I've seen about 13, and 5
Okay.
of them are in that stretch of like 2012 to 2020 that I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to watch those. I don't care. I'm not going to watch Dumbo.
Yeah, I thought I was going to walk away from looking at this list and going, well, I don't know how I'm going to pick a favourite. And then I went, oh, shit, there's actually less Tim Burton that I like than I thought I would.
He's not my guy. And we
No.
didn't really, Frank, you mentioned this during the Batman episode. But yeah, he's not, he's someone that I thought, I actually said this to my mum recently. We were talking about him. And when I was younger, she would always go, Tim Burton, I don't like his stuff. It's not good. And so I'm like 9. So I'm like, I'm going to like it then because I'm cool and, you know, adults don't like cool shit. And so I must like him. And I kind of watched a lot of his stuff as a kid. And I don't know if it actually worked for me, but I pretended it did. Or I just made it like, well, yeah, I should like this because he's weird and
you're a
kooky.
poser.
I'm just a poser.
Poser.
Big old poser.
Big up.
It's awkward.
And
it's awkward for you to admit
it took me
that.
a long time to get to the point where I'd watch one of his movies and be like, yeah, this just isn't really the guy I gravitate towards. I don't like Edward Scissorhands. And I think if you don't like that movie, you're going to have a tough time with his, you know, most well-known properties. I don't know.
with his shtick.
But
Do you like Edward Scissorhands?
No.
No, I don't really like that movie.
See, I do.
Yeah, and that's fine. Most people do. But I'm like, yeah, I
But
don't really give a shit about
I find him so
Mannered.
mannered,
Yeah.
mild mannered,
Please.
well mannered.
Yeah.
I just find his taste. It doesn't suit mine. I think everything he does is really ugly. I wrote a song today. UGLY. Tim Burton's work is. Oh, I forgot it. Tim Burton's work has no style.
I love it when bits like that are worth it.
He's ugly. I just think there are. Don't you think everything he does is hideous?
Horrifying.
Everything he does
Tom,
on
but
screen.
that's normally your sort of shit.
I know, and so watching that was really confronting. Being like, that's what that looks like?
Will this force you to change,
You need
Tom?
to change.
Absolutely not. I'm going to try to be worse.
Frank, I was surprised that because Tim Burton's so known for his style, the Tim Burton style,
Yeah.
which I'd argue is probably what he's most famous for, really.
Yeah. More
Very
than-
recognizable.
I find that, yes, it is, but it isn't, because looking at the credit list, I went, well, I don't see a lot of Burtonisms in all of his work.
Planet of the Apes? No.
No.
Well, Planet of the Apes is held up as like this is a joke, right? Tim Burton didn't actually direct this. He took a payday and then fucked off to Hawaii. And
Yeah.
some like second AD did it because that movie just does not look like a Tim Burton film. And it is horrible.
But a lot of people love it.
Really?
Yes.
I've not met a single person
A lot of people love
who
those
likes
films.
that movie.
No, hold on. His Planet of the Apes
Oh.
is not,
No,
His is the Mark
his was the
Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg reboot.
which
Yes.
is the notorious. Also, he's done a lot of like reboots and sequels and stuff.
Yeah.
Weird
No.
career.
Okay, let's talk about Frank. You don't like Tim Burton, but
No.
gun to head, you got to pick one. What is your favorite Tim Burton? I want to know.
Batman Returns.
Sure.
Like,
Okay.
whatever. But I'm like, yeah, cool. I hate this conversation.
What would you give that out?
Well, that's
oh my God.
God, you're so toxic.
What would you give that
I
out?
hate it. I don't want to talk about it.
Out of 11, what would you say that would be at? Like
7.
So your favorite Tim Burton movie is a 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Getting worse from there.
Okay, Tom.
Mind you, sorry,
sorry.
I've not seen Big Fish.
Well, I'll go next then. My favorite Tim Burton film is Big Fish.
Hey.
I
thought
love
so.
it. It makes me cry every time.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story. It's so Spielbergian that's what makes it work with Tim Burton flavor through it. It's a series of stories all amalgamated into this one journey, and it's got a beautiful love story over the top. I'm crying now.
Wow.
I'm just feeling a little bit of love for that film.
I
Good.
get it. That's a film that meant a lot. I don't know if it actually did mean a lot to me as a kid, but I thought it was a very big film. And I thought there was something
No, it's a
about
very
it that
big.
It's a
fish.
light-hearted family adventure.
Yeah, like
right?
an aquatic creature.
Yeah, like a large dolphin.
I wouldn't know how to do it. But like, yes, there's something lighthearted about it, but there's something sinister about it. There's the very Burton combination. So I recently
What an idiot! Recently?
I'm so sorry.
What the heck?
I recently watched for the first time Miss Peregrine's Home for
Peculiar Children.
Peculiar Children.
Ah,
And so I think I'm going to go ahead and I don't know if you guys have seen that.
no, of course not.
No, neither have I. I'm fucking with you. I turned that movie on and I watched 10 minutes and there was a knock at the door. And I was like,
the
oh, I better
eve-
go down. And it was Tim Burton. And he slapped me in the mouth and said, how fucking dare you?
Don't watch this movie.
And so I'm not allowed to watch that movie apparently.
It's a very uninteresting film.
Yeah, it looked awful.
Rupert Everett.
I turned
He's
it off.
in it.
Samuel L. Jackson,
Judi Dench.
Eva Green.
Alison Janney.
It's
Terrence Stamp.
Chris O'Dowd.
Asa Butterfield, the kid from Hugo. It's a wild cast.
Wow.
It looked terrible.
Huge cast.
Can I put one thing out there? And this is genuine. I'm sorry.
Can
I
you
was
pick a
fucking with-
film
No,
first?
because I need to say this real quick.
Oh my god!
Let him finish.
Have you guys seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Oh, no.
I never had. And I watched it at cinemas the other day because they were doing a re-release of it. Guess what? That movie's really good. That
but that's-
movie is so much fun.
Because you have an established character, right? That's
it's Paul
Pee-wee.
Rubens, but the visual style is there, the adventurousness of it. Holy shit, I am bowled over by how good that movie is. I was really amazed to find that I'm like, this is probably my second favorite
I've
Tim
never
Burton.
been interested in watching it because it's not. It's like saying, "Hey, who wants to watch Ernest Goes to Africa?"
I mean, it has that vibe. I totally see what you mean. It would have sat there on the same shelf at the rental store. You would have been like, am I going to watch that? It was getting a re-release. We were going to do this episode, and I was like, I should go watch it.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
That's
That movie's
interesting.
so funny. My favorite Burton movie is Ed Wood, which I think
Oh, I knew you were going to say this. I don't know why I didn't think
Ed Wood Scissorhands.
just because you wink, Frank,
Oh, sorry.
doesn't make us friends.
Ed Wood, I need to do it to the Ed Wood Scissorhands.
I want to hold your hand
Because-
for a little while.
I want to scissor your hands.
why-
Wait, I can't say that.
Wait, no, you can't.
Ouch.
Why is Ed Wood your favorite?
I think Ed Wood is one of his only adult films, which I know sounds a little patronizing, but I mean in the sense that it's a movie that takes his sense of wonder and his sense that there is something a little macabre and maybe dangerous underneath the real world, but he puts it in the frame of, one, a biopic, which is obviously a very like almost awards-heavy sort of genre, but he's also telling this story that's really, really humanly sad about Bela Lugosi, right? Like, you know, Martin Landau is amazing in that film. It's about his addiction and his issues. Johnny Depp, probably my favorite Johnny Depp performance. He's just so eager and effusive, and yet in his quiet moments, he's this desperately lonely, like, man convinced that if he's not a failure, that he's a success, but only in his own eyes. I think it's something that Tim Burton relates to a lot because he sees a man with a vision and he recognizes that not everyone's going to get it. And there's a real sense of camaraderie amongst everyone in that film. Bill Murray, Sarah Jessica Parker, old mate Jeffrey Jones, who's obviously a very controversial figure now, but like
You're having a good night.
recently controversial.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio, who's Orson Welles, but they replace his voice. They ADR him with someone
Really?
else in it. They dub
Really?
it. They do. It's not Vincent D'Onofrio's voice because they didn't like his Orson Welles impression, so they ADR'd it.
Wow.
That's surprising.
How did it get cast then?
Yeah,
Because he kind of looks like Orson Welles. He kind of looks like
he's also
Orson.
a very good actor, so that
He's
surprises
great.
me.
I would not imagine Vincent D'Onofrio has a great Orson Welles voice, or not as good as the guy they got to do it, who I can't remember the name of. It might have been Phil Lamar.
We're getting in the weeds.
All that to say, Ed Wood, I think, is a really triumphant film that's very funny, but it's also very, I think, just a little bit melancholy. Well, no, it's very melancholy. And I think it's remarkable that Tim Burton has that in him because when people talk about Edward Scissorhands, that's what they normally say. They go, oh, it's this wondrous film about like community and love and camaraderie, but it's also sad and tragic. And I watch it and I'm like, this is some goofy shit. Like,
it is goofy. It's so dumb.
I see what you're saying, but I don't really agree with it saying it's the only adult film he's made. I think that
I know I'm being
in terms
a bit.
of content, I see what you're saying. But you've got
Mars Attacks is pretty dumb.
you've got Batman
That's
Returns.
one of my favorites.
Batman Returns, which is very violent, actually quite terrifying in certain moments, very gory and scary. Then you've got Sleepy Hollow, which is kind of actually terrifying too, in a very adult way. It's a very it's a fantasy film, and I understand what you're saying about the adult content of Ed Wood versus what they're trying to achieve in other films. But Tim Burton does dark and scary and very adult content, sort of marketed towards children in the strangest way possible. Even Nightmare Before Christmas has its elements of like, what are we doing here?
Which is a Henry Selick film, but yes, you're right. He produced and like came up.
You understand though?
I know what you're saying.
The isms coming through in this content,
Which is funny that's Tim Burton. I'm using air quotes. Tim Burton's most famous film.
Most people would say that's their favorite Tim Burton, and it's like,
it's a shocking film.
I like that movie. I think that you're right on some level that those movies have those qualities, but the reason that kids love them is because they have that very kiddish energy and sort of like...
I don't think Sleepy Hollow does.
I do think it does. It's a movie about like a headless man haunting a town. There's some parts of it that might frighten a young child.
It's about like gothic period murder. Like
some kids are into that though.
I think you could show that to
depending
like
on the age. I would never be. God no.
I think you could show that to like an 11-year-old and they'd be like, this is like goofy fun. Like this is exciting, and maybe it's scary in a way that's accessible. I think if you showed them Ed Wood, they'd be like, why am I watching this boring like grown-up movie? I don't get
so
why.
So you mean grown-up as in...
I think it's got a grown-up property
far
to it,
more of a dramatic flair.
which doesn't necessarily mean for a better film. There are plenty of grown-up movies that suck that are like aimed at that, but I think it's interesting Tim Burton did that. Maybe just that once, or he's like Big Fish is a similar element to it, but I still don't think is necessarily taking place in our world. I think it's one of his only our world films, and I really respect it for that.
I see what you mean. Set in actual reality.
Big Fish does, but the sequences in it don't. You know what I mean?
Of the storytelling narrative to
Absolutely.
it. I understand that, but
Ed Wood doesn't have, except for a couple of like weird montages. Ed Wood is our world. That is just the human real world that's taking place in, just with weird people. You know what I mean? There's nothing that couldn't happen in the world in Ed Wood.
I have watched Ed Wood a few times.
Yeah.
I find it sometimes to be a little boring.
Yeah.
Too adult for you.
Sure, I understand what you're doing there, like, but like, I can't argue that point.
Can we talk about the fact that he works with Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter, just to a level that is boring?
It's a throuple,
but it's not. It hasn't happened in a while. I mean, I don't think he's worked with either of them since Dark Shadows, unless maybe Helena Bonham Carter. 2012. I never saw it. Basically, that stretch of movies through Dark Shadows, Frankenweenie,
Alice in
Miss
Wonderland,
Peregrine.
Sweeney Todd.
See. Now, did he do the reboot of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Oh, yeah, the 2005
It's
one.
not bad.
That's an okay movie.
It's not good.
I remember liking
What's
it.
good
I
about it?
haven't watched it.
Johnny
Johnny's-
Depp's... Oh, it's
So
the
you
most...
don't like his Johnny, Willie in that one?
Not at all.
You don't
Not
like
a
his Willie?
chance.
You don't like
Charlie.
You don't like Johnny's Willie?
Oh, I see what's happening.
Thank you. He also plays Willy Wonka, not Charlie. Idiot.
Yeah, Tom, you idiot.
That's why I said Willie.
Got him.
You went, no, he's Charlie.
No, but I don't think Johnny Depp, like, he's had a bad run the last couple... Wait, acting-wise, he's had a bad...
Lone Ranger.
Yeah, Lone Ranger. Sweeney Todd, he's so bad in Sweeney Todd. He's bad in all of these. Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
I remember really liking Sweeney Todd. I watched it a lot back in the day. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Dark Shadows, awful.
I've heard it's horrendous.
How many
Horrendous.
films?
I've
How
seen
many
that.
films have they done together? Johnny and Tim.
Edward Scissorhands, Ed Wood, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, Dark Shadows. That might be it. I think it's the
Charlie.
5. Charlie. So the 6, maybe?
8.
Ooh, what are the other two we missed?
Ed Scissorhands, Ed Wood, Sleepy Hollow, Charlie and
Sleepy
Chocolate
Hollow.
Factory, Corpse
Yeah.
Bride, Sweeney Todd, Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows.
Oh my
And
God, I
Alice-
forgot about Alice in Wonderland.
That's bad too.
That movie
bad.
is
That's bad.
and
That's ugly. You know what I mean?
That was
style. Ugly.
I remember going
I
to watch
wish we had a
that.
song for that.
UGLY. Tim Burton's films have got no style. He's ugly. There we go. He's ugly.
Gave him the redemption arc
Thank
there.
God. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
so embarrassed.
Yeah, that
So
was worth
embarrassed.
it, definitely. I remember going to
Yes, it was. Yes, it was,
No,
Thomas.
it wasn't,
You
though.
know what? How about you support me for once?
How about I support him for once?
Support us on our Patreon.
Patent pending.
Pending.
Patreon
Patton Oswalt.
pending. I remember going to see Alice in Wonderland when I was 16 and in the pocket for Johnny Depp. Like anything he did. And I walked out of that and I was like, that was bad. Like,
Well, yeah,
I don't know
what-
what's going on, but I think
It broke
that
your brain a little
wasn't
bit?
good.
Yeah.
And I'm worried. Like, that movie is so bad.
Here's
And it
my
never
3.
got any better.
Big Fish, Sleepy Hollow, Edward Scissorhands. Boom. In that order.
Ed Wood, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and I guess probably it would be Sweeney Todd third. But if I rewatched it again, maybe I wouldn't like it as much. But I really liked it back in the day. I think Johnny Depp's good in that movie.
Frank, so you haven't seen Big Fish?
Batman Returns, Batman.
That's it.
Wednesday, the TV show, is probably like better than any of that other shit.
Can you please watch Big Fish?
Yeah,
Do
I'd
me
love
a
to.
favour.
I honestly would love to.
Okay.
I'm sounding mad, but I'm actually excited to see it.
Because it's our boy. Oh, what's his name? See, that's bad. I'm
David
just-
Wenham.
Carpe Van Diem.
No.
No, not Carpe Van Diem.
Who's
That's
Carpe Diem?
That's just
Probably-
Carpe Diem. Casper Van Diem. I can't believe
Oh,
I just
no.
said Carpe Van
He's in
Diem.
Sleepy Hollow. In Big Fish. It's one.
Billy Crudup
Billy.
Oh, it
Crudup.
is Billy Crudup.
and
All right.
Albert Finney and Ewan McGregor.
I'd said Ewan McGregor.
No,
But I
Ewan
love
McGregor.
Oh, well, what about my scissor
Hey,
hands?
Ewan McGregor.
Stop touching
Frank,
me.
it's all about you and us.
Ewan and us and McGregor. And hey, thanks for listening. What a strong finish from the pals.
Watch Big Fish. Greatest Tim Burton ever.
Threw in the pound.
You want to do this one?
Oh, yeah.
No. Thanks for
listening
throwing the
to Throw
pal. My name is
Where's
Frank.
My name is Marcus. My name is Tom.
That was Tim Burton. Tell us what you think about Tim Burton.
Send us an Instagram. Go on Instagram. Throw in the pal. Check out Instagram. We have Instagram at Throw in the pal. Did you know about Instagram? It's on
What?
your phone. Check it out. Throw in the pal. Throw in the pal. Oh, that wasn't good?
I didn't say that. But no.